So one of my favorite antennas is the POTA Performer by KJ6ER. It's a quarter wave vertical with 2 elevated radials, very easy antenna to set up, very decent performer. According to Greg, it's about 90% efficient, which means 90% of your RF is actually getting radiated. So I decided to make his other antenna the Challenger, which is a off-center fed dipole, vertical off-center fed dipole. And I ended up using the setup I have for my POTA Performer, same tripod, and I'll show you how I did that. So this right here is the same tripod I use for the POTA Performer, and you can see I have a 4:1 unin with a choke below it, and then I have a little pigtail with little banana plugs that plug right into my coax connection, and then I have a 25-foot whip. And then this antenna just has a very short counterpoise. I think it's a little less than 6 feet for 20 meters. And that allows me to get a pretty good SWR. And then as you can see, I actually have links for different bands that I can unplug. I've used this antenna a handful of times and have had okay results, but the band conditions have been pretty poor. However, the other morning I was using it and ended up getting a little bit of DX. In fact, my good friend Eli, HA9RE, was able to contact me, and he gave me a 559, and so that was a decent contact. In fact, he emailed me afterwards and said he couldn't believe his ears that he heard me because he couldn't hear any other US stations at the time. So let me show you the SWR. So I don't know if you can see this, but I've got my Nano VNA hooked up. And you know, every time I deploy this antenna, I get a little bit different SWR depending on the how high the antenna is and probably the ground. But right now it's reading 1.28 at 14.04 megahertz, which is perfectly acceptable. And the neat thing about this antenna is you get a very wide dip in the SWR, so it's very broad banded. In fact, you get the entire 20-meter band. So I'm going to go ahead and find an open frequency and see if I can't make a few contacts. The antennas seem to perform pretty well. I had a pretty good run on 20 meters. I got 62 contacts. I got one contact on 17 meters, but that was it. Just a little over an hour. And I was even able to get a station in Japan, so that was pretty good.